We can be racing down the street. We can be playing soccer ball with the trash cans in the street. Like, I want to win.
I'm Adam Breneman.
This is
Next up. Wild. Next up.
What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Next Up by Mercury podcast. I'm your host, Adam Breneman, and we got a great guest for you today, Rhys Plumlee, starting quarterback at UCF, one of the most dynamic players in college football. Such an interesting story. I'm going to dive in with him about how he got to UCF, his time at Ole Miss, his recruiting process. You're going to hear a side of him you may not have ever heard before. So without any further ado, Rhys Plumlee, starting quarterback at UCF and certified good guy. We are joined now by Rhys Plumlee, starting quarterback at UCF. Man, appreciate you being here, brother.
Heck yeah, I'm glad to be here for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to have you on this kind of recurring appearance monthly on the Next Up by Mercury podcast. Going to be cool, man. I'm excited for fans to kind of interact with you in a way that they normally don't probably get to interact with their starting quarterback. So it's going to be sweet.
Fun. It's going to be a ton of fun.
Dude, we got to start with the hurdle, man. We got to start with that. What I saw, I didn't see it live. I saw some highlights. You got up there on that hurdle.
Yeah, I don't really, I've gotten, I guess, in this habit of jumping. I don't know why I do that. I don't really think it all the way through when I do it, you know. But sure enough, we're running just a naked, get to the side. Nothing was open. Said, hey, I'm gonna try to go for it here. Then there was a guy in front of me. I just jumped. And so I jumped, and then I hit him, and kind of, I think my knee hit him, and I went a little higher.
Yeah.
And so I think that's how I got so high in the air. But then when you get up there, it's like, okay, now I got to come back down. That's the issue, right?
It's got to be a scary feeling when you're all the way up there and you don't know how you're coming down.
You're looking down, and it's a long way down. It's like, holy cow. But ended up flipping all the way over, landing on my back, so it ended up well. And it was, yeah, like I said, you don't really think all the way through it when you do it, but I'm glad it worked out.
It's definitely a high risk, high reward play, because if you pull it off, it's like you're on Sports Center, everyone's talking about it. But if it doesn't go well, but luckily you scored, man. So it was sweet. But yeah, I mean, awesome game this past weekend. It has set career highs, and I mean just about every category. Take us through the game, man.
It was good. It was a lot of fun. Early in the game, first half, we put together some really good drives, driving on the field. Shot ourselves in the foot, whether it was a fumble, whether it was interception late in the game for me. We fumbled again in the red zone, ended up fumbling twice in the red zone, and then threw a pick later in the game I did. And so we put together good drives in the first half, just shot ourselves in the foot. But then second half rolled around, made some adjustments, and ultimately it worked out. We got to finish drives the way we wanted to, and that's what you really want to do. When you get all the way down there, you want to get in, you know.
It seems like the offense is certainly clicking on all cylinders right now. You feel that way?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just about the little things, you know. And obviously, you being a guy that's played, you understand it. But it's the little things of getting the signals or lining up the right way. Who's on the ball? Who's off the ball? It's splits when you're in the O line. It's taking the right drop for your quarterback. It's all the little stuff that makes big deals. You know, the little things turn into big things. And so when you do the little things right, it makes everything easier. And so that's what we're working on, doing the little things right.
Yeah, and that obviously a lot of that comes back to you as the quarterback, right? Is I'm assuming you guys are mostly like signal, no huddle offense. So there's a lot of moving parts. I think that fans don't always understand, like you said, the splits of the receivers. Like if a receiver is like 2 yards off on a split, like the timing is completely different on a route and offensive, you know, the change in protections and things like that.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. But I think that's what makes quarterback one of the most fun positions, just because you're able to see it all, and you're hopefully able to correct it all that isn't right.
No doubt. Well, give me a kind of like the state of the season so far. You know, you won the first game, had the tough loss against Louisville that you probably feel like you should have won. How you feeling about the first three games? You know, now that we're in the end of the season.
Started off really good, you know, did some really good things, but in that game we did some bad things too. We were gonna correct as we went, and that's what we did. Louisville comes around, and it's like, we should have won that game. Had numerous opportunities in that game. I flat out should have played better. That's the easiest way to put it, But after that week, you know how it is after a loss. You just got that bad taste in your mouth whole week.
Yeah.
And so there's almost a little bit more preparation that goes into the next week because, man, you just want to get that bad taste out of your mouth. And so you see it around the facility. Hey, everybody's putting in a little bit more. Everybody's going a little harder. And then ultimately this week to be able to bounce back and get that bad taste out of your mouth is a good feeling. And I think it kind of propels us into the next game, and it's going to propel us each season. Coach Malzhan says it all the time. Not a whole lot of teams are going to get better as the season goes on. He always does a sound like this. Not a whole lot of teams as the season goes on. Some people are going to reach a spot and they're going to be that good of a team the rest of the season. And our goal is to each week keep getting better and better. And so that's our goal. That's our goal for it.
I love it. Yeah, no, it's a great point. A lot of teams hit that plateau, but hopefully you guys keep getting better and better and run the table the rest of the year. But as far as your connection with Javon Baker has been kind of your main guy. What's it like throwing him the ball? He's definitely a friendly target for a quarterback.
He's one of those guys that make it easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We give each other crap all the time. If I make a bad throw or something, man, just give me a chance. That's what he wants. Man, just give me a chance. Yeah, I get it, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes in practice he'll drop one and I get on him. Man, give me a chance, right? We'll just give it back and forth. But he's one of those guys it's easy to throw to him, Big catch radius, big guy, big strong guy. Really easy to throw to. And we've got a lot of guys like that on the team that haven't we've utilized them, but haven't had that huge game that I think is coming for him.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's been productive every game, but hasn't had that like 200 yards receiving in a single game.
Yeah.
Funny, I used to always say to my quarterback during the game, I go to the huddle and be like, "There's 3 guarantees in life: death, taxes, and I'm going to find a way to get open."
Right.
So it sounds like he says the same thing, right?
That's right. I think it's all receivers a little bit,
For sure. Well, I want to backtrack a little bit and get to, you've had such an interesting journey to get to where you are now at UCF, and you've been through ups and downs and your recruiting process. I just want to dive into all that because it's so interesting. You were a big time recruit coming out of high school. I mean, you had everyone in America. If I remember correctly, you were like listed as like an athlete. You were one of those guys that like people were kind of like, does he play quarterback? Where does he play? And you were playing baseball too. So just to talk us through that recruiting journey.
High school was crazy, especially when we got into recruiting. As a kid growing up, it was, hey, football, baseball at the next level. That's what I want to do. I want to do it until I can't do it anymore. So if it would have been junior college, if it would have been a D3 school, a D2 school, I was in. Like whatever it was, whatever opportunity it was, I was in. And so whether it was football or baseball. And so I going through recruiting, it's like you see a bunch of people get recruited, and it's like, man, I'm super happy for them. But it's like, man, I want a shot, right? And so you go to camps in the summer, and I go to a football camp at Mississippi State. I went to Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and Southern Miss. They're in Mississippi, And so go to Mississippi State, and I go as a quarterback. You go as a position. You're in the position group the whole time. I go and they do all the testing, right? So it's, man, they get your hand size, they get how much you weigh, how tall you are. Then it gets to the 40 vertical broad jump, and then you get into like one-on-ones or position group specific stuff. Well, when the 40 came around, I ran a really good time, and Coach Terrell Buckley, T-Buck, he coached the corner coach at Mississippi State, comes up and he's like, "Hey man, what's your name?" Blah 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 blah. He said, "Go run the 40 again." So I run the 40 again, run another good time, and so he's fired up, right? So go over to the vertical jump mat or whatever, jump pretty high, and he's fired up. He said, "Where's your dad?" So I pull my dad out over there. Go through the camp, all this and that, and he says, "Hey man, I want you to come back, but I want you to come back as a DB." And I said, "You want me to come back? I'm in, whether it's a water boy or whatever. I'm coming back, right?" And so we come back later that summer, run another good time. But I never played corner. Now, freshman year of high school, I played a little bit of nickel. Did some stuff inside the box, outside the box. But as far as like playing corner, I'd never done it. And so during the camp, he kind of like taught me how to play corner, right?
Mm-hmm.
We go and get to the one-on-ones and stuff. And then after the camp is over, I go up to Coach Dan Mullen, was the head coach at the time.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for having me at the camp. Really appreciate it. Hey, man, I want you to come back again to our big dog camp. Everybody has a big camp, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, man, these camps aren't free, right? How am I gonna? I'm gonna keep them back. But shoot, the head coach says come back. I'm coming back. So come back and run another good 40. I think that one was like a 4.39 or something. And that's hand time, so you never know if it's right or wrong. But then we do one-on-ones. Ended up catching a pick on the first rep of the camp, and then ended up I think catching 2 more picks. And man, I was excited. And ultimately, after that camp, Coach Mullen offered me a scholarship, and let me tell you, buddy, I was living the dream. I was fired.
You made it. You made it.
I was on cloud 9, man. I was fired up. And so after that, went back to school. Everybody's excited for you. Later on that week, Southern missed calls, and they're like, "Hey, man, we want you. You got a scholarship. We don't really know what for yet. Like, it's athlete scholarship, right?
Yeah.
You play slot receiver, whatever they want you to do. We just want you on the team." Man, I'm fired up, right? It's my hometown team. I'm from Hattiesburg.
Mm-hmm.
And later on, I think about a week later, Nick Saban calls. And
you must have been freaking out, right?
like, whoa, this is unreal. And so we're on the phone or whatever, and it's like, "Hey, man, you have an opportunity to come and play at Alabama." And I'm like, and when you're talking to Nick Saban, you're not like, "Hey, coach, does that mean I have an offer?" Like, I was just like, "I appreciate it, coach. Thank you so much, blah, 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 blah." And so I called the high school coach and was like, "Hey, is that an offer?" He's like, "Yeah, man." And so I was like, holy cow. And then after Alabama, a whole lot of schools came on. And so go through this whole process, and people want you as an athlete, a DB, a safety, a corner, a slot receiver. Some want a running back. So, like, all those things are great. But I love playing quarterback, and I love playing baseball. And so I remember at the time, a smaller school came on and said, "Hey, man, we want you, but we want you to play quarterback." And so I was like, man, I think that's what I want to do. And so I called back all these schools. "Hey, I want to play quarterback. I really appreciate the opportunity. If you don't want to play quarterback, no worries. I'm just going to go a different direction." "Hey, no worries, blah, 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 blah." Well, play another season, play a junior season. And a bunch of schools called back and said, "Hey, man, we want you to play quarterback." And so it's like, holy cow, this is awesome. These schools are calling back. And then another smaller school calls back and said, "Hey, we want you to play quarterback, and we want you to play baseball." So I go through the whole thing again. "Hey, man, this is what I want to do. If I can play both, I want to play both. If not, don't worry about it. I'm just going to go a different direction." And so everybody calls back, "Hey, man, yeah, you can play baseball, this and that." And so then you have to filter through who's telling you the truth, who wants you to really play quarterback, or who wants you to just get you on campus and then send you over to play corner, right? And so it's like, man, what do you do? And so you're trying to filter through it all and all this and that. And so ultimately ended up committing to Georgia. And so I was committed. That's where I was going. I had it done in my timeline. I was good, man. And I had already told Ole Miss no. That was when Phil Longo was there, Hugh Freeze. They were like, "Hey, man, we're looking for a big guy anyway, more of a pocket presence guy, pocket passer guy." And I was like, "All right, no worries. I appreciate the opportunity that y'all giving me, though." And so I was done with them, right? So I crossed them off the list, committed to Georgia. Well, as you know, in college sports, the coaching shuffle happens, right?
Every year.
They start moving, man. They start moving. And so while I was committed to Georgia, some movement happened, right? And so I committed to Georgia, but I was really close to committing to North Carolina, really close. And so commit to Georgia, and then they call back and say, "Hey, we want to gray shirt you or blue shirt you." I'm unsure which one it was, but ultimately you pay for the summer. And then when school rolls around, you're on scholarship. What it does is just boost your scholarship for the next year. And so they have the numbers right. And so I was like, man, why me though? Right? There's a whole recruiting class. Like, why me? Like, you have to pick one guy to do it. Why'd you pick me? It kind of showed me, like, in their eyes what I was. And so I was like, "Hey, man, I want to go somewhere where I'm a priority." Right? And so it's like, "Hey, just want to let y'all know I'm opening this recruiting thing back up." And so I did. And after that shuffle, Well, Phil Longo, who was at Ole Miss, went to North Carolina. And so I almost committed to North Carolina, which Phil Longo would have ultimately been at, which is not what he wanted. So I'm glad that didn't happen. And then Rich Rod and Matt Luke went to Ole Miss. And so it was perfect. Like, it was a perfect fit for me. Ended up committing. And I think that's where God wanted me to be. And it was really, really cool. And then ultimately, after that, go through freshman year, Matt gets hurt. You come in, make some really cool plays or whatever. Ended up rotating back and forth, playing a lot freshman year, had a good year. And then sophomore year, Kiffin and his staff comes in. Matt wins the job. It stinks, man, right? Like, dang, I want to be playing. This really sucks, but I'm going to wait it out, right? So I do. And then after that year, I said, man, I'm going to leave. It's really tough because I was in a really good spot in baseball. Like, baseball, I was rotating a little bit here and there towards the end of the season, ended up starting in the super regional. Like, and so going into the next season, like, I'm in my mind, I'm like, all right, I'm going to be the guy out there. I'm going to be able to play. And so it's like a double-edged sword here. Like, you leave a bad situation, but you're also leaving a good situation. You know what I mean? And so after that, I was like, man, I'm going to leave. And then I got talked in, hey, man, will you play receiver and you come back and play quarterback? Perfect, right? I'm good. I get to play baseball. Like, I'm good, right? Well, I do it. Baseball goes good. Receiver wasn't really what I wanted, you know. Didn't get as many touches as all receivers feel like they don't, you know what I mean? Everybody feels like they don't get enough touches, you know what I mean? And so I was like, hey, I'm just going to go back and play quarterback and just get ready for the next season. And then they were like, hey, man, we just really don't think you can play quarterback for us. And so it was like, man, that's tough to hear. You know what I mean? Like, man, that sucks. And so after that season, I was like, all right, I'm going to bounce. And get here in the spring, thinking maybe there's a shot to play baseball, but didn't get to because of the NCAA. There's a rule in place where you can't. So get to do spring football for the first time ever. That was a cool experience. Go through summer, go through fall, and ultimately now we're here. Crazy story, but I'm definitely glad that I'm here, and I feel like God's placed me right where He wants me to be.
That's awesome. What a crazy story that is. I got so many questions about all that. We could dive into that for hours. So one of the interesting parts about your recruiting process is probably the baseball part, because what you're navigating just from being a coach before and having guys who wanted to play basketball or baseball as well, like, you're navigating, does the baseball team actually want me, or are they just trying to work a deal with the football team to tell you that you can play baseball? When you get there, they're going to be like, yeah, you're never going to play baseball here. And you were good enough that you knew you'd be able to play, but that's what you're navigating. And the quarterback situation, like, or do they actually want me to play quarterback? Are they going to put me in the DB room?
That's right. It's like you're working your way, man, am I going to get a real shot? Because that's ultimately all you can ask. It's just, hey, I want a legitimate chance at this thing. And if I get beat out and it doesn't work out, I had my chance. But I just want a legitimate chance, and you have to try to work your way into seeing, hey, are they going to give me a shot or are they not? But that in high school, doing that was crazy, because also in baseball, you can get drafted out of high school.
Yeah.
And so I'm working through that too, as well as trying to pick a school that I'm going to go to. 1 week, this is a crazy week. So all the MLB teams have area scouts. And so there's a scout that has South Mississippi, just like college coaches have recruiting areas, right? And so one week, I don't know if these days are completely right, but it was like Monday, Ole Miss was at the house. Like, you can come to a home visit. Ole Miss was at the house. Tuesday, the Yankees, the area scout for the Yankees was at the house. Wednesday, Mississippi State was at the house. Thursday, like a agency group that wants to represent you in the baseball was at the house, and they were pitching us. And then Friday, it was like the Red Sox. And so it was like Yankees, Red Sox, Ole Miss, and Mississippi State at the house. And it's like, holy cow, this is unbelievable. Like, this is I'm in over my head here. But that was a crazy week for sure. And then you got to try to find time for homework. That was unbelievable too.
That's awesome.
Man, it was a lot of fun though. A lot of fun.
That's sweet. I feel like it's led you right to where you're supposed to be, man. Now at UCF, such a cool process. I bet being there for the spring helped a ton, just in the whole quarterback competition. And you're like you said, normally you were missing spring football, right?
Yeah, and so it was one of those things I've never done because of baseball. I saw myself develop as a quarterback more. because of that time in the spring. Because usually you come up from baseball, boom, you're in football, and then you're already trying to throw the football around, trying to get with the guys, and you never really have time to work on the little things about playing quarterback, right? But in the spring, I had time to do that, and I think it really helped me.
How was the whole quarterback competition process? You know, I saw some of the or had heard about the team was super excited when you got named the starter, and I think everyone was just happy for you with everything you've been through. And I know Mikey too, and he's a great quarterback and going to have a great career as well. How was that whole process?
So coming in the spring, and ultimately, like, I've been in quarterback competition before with Matt and everybody, and it's kind of tough. How do you navigate that relationship, right? Like, hey, I'm coming in. We're both competing for the same job, but you're also with this guy 24/7, and so it's like you get to be friends, but on the field, it's like we're competing hard against each other, right? And so going through the spring, summer, fall, we're just steady competing, but you're doing it together. You're with each other every day. And Mikey is a heck of a quarterback, a heck of a competitor, heck of a friend too. He helps me still during the season. I mean, comes to the sideline, picks me up, tells me what he sees, and it really helps me a ton. But as far as a player and a competitor, man, Mikey is a guy, man, for real. And I'm really excited to see what his future holds.
Yeah, no, he's gonna have a great career. I remember when he was playing ball in Arizona, man, he was tearing up every freaking defense he was playing against, running all over the field. And you guys have pretty similar play styles, you know, to be honest. So it's been.
Yeah, he's a playmaker. I think that's the only way to describe a playmaker.
Gonna be great, man. What's Lane Kiffin like? What was it like playing for him?
So really, not what you expect, right? So like, all the head coaches I've been under with Rich Rod, Matt Luke, Coach Malzhan, in high school, everybody is very about what they do, like very particular about what goes on, right? But Kiffin was a little bit more laid back, and so it was a little weird for me because I'm like used to structure.
Yeah.
But at first he was on Twitter. You see that he's like a really outspoken, really funny guy. Like, he's hilarious on Twitter. But then when I first met him, it was like, this is a really quiet guy. Like he isn't this extrovert that he is on Twitter, right? But we made the joke. I kept working away trying to crack his shell, right? Trying to get him to come out of his shell. And I think we definitely did that. Ended up having a really good relationship. And he's hilarious. But at first I had to really crack his shell to get in there. But really, really funny guy. Amazing offensive mind, as I'm sure everybody can see. But a really funny dude as well.
Yeah, I've heard that about him, that, like, you know, everyone thinks he's like this certain way, but like deep down he's just like a pure ball guy. Like he just wants to call plays. That's all he cares about.
That's all he wants to do.
That's awesome.
It's hilarious.
Well, how's your relationship with Coach Malzhan? How's that kind of developed since you got in there?
Really good. So got recruited out of high school by him, and Coach Lindsay. And so at a high school, they were one of the ones I go on a visit to Auburn, right, and have this awesome visit. And we sit down finally in the film room. Like, you know how the visit is. You go through and you see everything, and then you get to the film room. Like, you get, hey, what do y'all want me to do? What does the offense look like? And so we sit down in the film room, and like, I'm thinking, hey, they want me to play quarterback. Like, I'm going to play quarterback. And sit down in the film room, and it's like, this is what we want you to do. Play slot receiver. And they were 100% honest with me. Like, they no hiding anything. This is what we want you to do. And they had film of this guy. I think they called him like the astronaut or something. And little, like, small guy in the slot that ran a bunch of option routes and just got open. And he was just man. And but I was just like, man, I really appreciate it. I do. Like, I really appreciate it. But these guys over here want to play quarterback. And so I'm going to play quarterback. And so they're like, hey, no hard feelings. We really appreciate you. And so then I play another season of football. And they come back and they're like, hey, we want you to play quarterback. Well, I was like, y'all just told me you want me to play slot. And then they also had Bo Nix coming in.
That's right.
They had already told me we love Bo. And I was like, you can't do it. You know what I mean? Like, after that, like, they weren't lying to me by any means. I knew they weren't because they were honest with me up front. But it was just like, I think I got a better opportunity somewhere else. And so ultimately I had a really good relationship with them though, because they were so upfront, so honest about what their intentions were. And so when you get in the transfer portal, you get a call, Coach Malzhan, it's like, let's go. Like this is awesome, right? Like
Yeah.
you get the opportunity to come back and ultimately you watch his offense with Nick Marshall and Cam Newton and guys like that kind of look similar, have similar play, and it fires you up. And so when I got that call from him, it was really exciting.
So it wasn't a difficult process once you were in the portal. You knew you wanted to go to UCF.
It's really quick. It's not like high school. Like high school,
Yeah.
it's like, hey, you can drag this thing out for as long as you want, all the way up until early signing day, and then if you don't want to do it, then you got signing day around the corner, right? But with transfer portal, it's like you get in the portal and you want to make a decision quick so you can get where you can get there and get your feet set in the ground and start learning the system, being around the guys, and so got in the portal, got a call from Coach Malzahn, got a call from Southern Miss, got a call from South Alabama, a couple of other schools, Florida State, some other stuff, but what it really came down to was UCF, South Alabama, and Southern Miss. Just because Southern Miss was home for me. South Alabama also had a really good system, I thought. But I felt like UCF was the place to be, and I'm glad to be here for sure.
Yeah, the transfer portal is like bang bang because you're trying to get to school in time for January.
It's like you get in it and it hits you right then. Boom! It's like phone call, and it's like you're trying to weed through it all. And it's like you're writing stuff down. This is what they want. Blah 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 blah. This is when school starts. This is when I can be there. It's really quick turnaround once you get in the portal for sure.
No doubt. You mentioned Chip Lindsey, obviously such a great offensive mind, and he's your quarterback's coach. How's it been developing under him?
Unbelievable. Amazing coach. I mean, a guy that's been in the game for a long time and been in Coach Malzahn's offense as well, so he knows it like the back of his hand. And sometimes when Coach Malzahn says stuff, it's like, well, it's kind of a little confusing, whatever. And then he'll break it down. Hey, look, this is what he means right here. When you're looking at this guy, this is what you're looking for. And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And so to have a guy that has been around Coach Malzahn and also knows a ton of football and an offensive mind like that is just, I mean, I feel like it's almost like cheating. You know what I mean? Like I get a head start with these guys, and I've learned a ton already, and I'm still continuing to learn every week.
That's great, man. Yeah, I've heard so many good things about Coach Lindsey. That's so cool. You get to develop under him. What's the future for baseball look like with you? Are you what are the plans?
Yeah, I'm playing. So once football, into football season, at least at Ole Miss, it was like a couple of days, like 3 or 4, maybe a week, get healthy, and then it's over there. Like you're in it, like you're getting after it. I try to go over there maybe once a week. It depends on how your body is after a game, and just try to swing a little bit, keep the rust off the swing. Just because baseball is such a, I mean, if you don't do it, like you're gonna lose it. You know what I mean?
No doubt. Yeah.
Usually have a little bit of time, a couple of days after football, and then it's right back over into baseball. And so I'm really enjoying football right now, but I love baseball too. And I try to always be where my feet are. I don't wish that I'm in baseball and football season, or wish that I'm in football and baseball season. And so I usually just try to enjoy where I'm at.
That's great, man. I'm about to watch some UCF baseball games this fall, man. This spring. I'm excited. How's you're a starting quarterback, a star quarterback at that, during probably the most interesting era of college football. I mean, things have changed more in the last 5 years of college football than they changed in the last 100 years. So, how's the NIL process been? Obviously, you signed the NIL deal with Mercury and the UCF fan platform. So how's that kind of whole process been?
For me, like I don't really like navigating it all. Like to make a bunch of phone calls. Hey, what do y'all got going? Hey, what do y'all got going over here? Or, hey, do y'all think y'all can do this, and that? And so I really like playing football, being a football player, being a college student, doing class, and enjoying the relationships that I have around me. And the stuff that comes in, it comes in, right? And so I needed a little help because I didn't want to have to do it all. My days are already stretched thin with football, baseball, school. You know how it all is, and I didn't really have to add another piece of the cake or another piece of the pie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I at Ole Miss I had a guy named Shane Blanton help me out, and we first got in this thing kind of together, and we were kind of feeling our way out. But he was really, really good about helping me, and he was a stud. But when I got the transfer portal, he was like, "Man, I don't know if I can help you as much in Florida," just because he lived in Jackson, Mississippi. Like he had a bunch of connections in Mississippi. He said, "I'll help you as much as I can, but I just don't know how well that I'm going to be able to help you in Florida." And I was like, "No worries. I'll try. When I get down there, I'll feel my way out and see if I can't find somebody to help me." And ultimately, some guys hit me up like, "Hey, man, we want to help you with NIL," which I was really appreciative for. But ended up going with Jeff at GSC. He helps me out a ton, and he really does a really good job about keeping me informed about what's going on, about speaking on my behalf, and I really appreciate the work that he does for me for sure.
Yeah, it's good because it keeps guys like me from texting you every couple of days, right? And just blowing you up. Being like, let's go.
I don't mind it at all, but Jeff, he's a stud. He's a stud because I mean I think his people skills are really, really good. And so to be able to sometimes because it's over my head sometimes, and so he'll kind of tell me what's going on and then put it in layman's terms to get it to me to kind of make sense, and so I can say, okay, that sounds good, or okay, I think we want to go a different direction. And sometimes he makes a call for me, which is a lot easier for me.
Yeah, no, you definitely got a good dude in Jeff looking out for your behalf. He's been great. Last couple of things I got for you, man. What are the kind of goals or expectations for this season? Are you a goal guy? Like, do you have them written out, or are you just kind of take it game by game?
I'm usually a game by game kind of guy. Yeah. Goals for me, it's not like, hey, I want this many yards or I want this many touchdowns. I'm not a huge stat guy. Like I don't.
Yeah.
That's just not me. Like I don't. I think numbers can get you so far, but I think I really wanted, like at the beginning of the season, I said, hey, I want to really develop as a passer. And so I told Coach Lindsey that, and he says he helps me a ton with its protections, understanding what defenses are doing, getting into my drop. Not at the beginning of the spring and into the fall, I wasn't getting enough depth from the line of scrimmage, and so I kind of felt hurried, wasn't getting to my check downs. And so he's helped me a ton with just progressing as a passer, right? And so that was one of my huge goals, and everything that comes with that, with the accuracy, understanding protections, getting better drops. That's one of the main goals that I want to do is progress as a passer. And I'm getting there day by day, And but as far as goals, team goals for the rest of the season, obviously you want to have success, right? I like winning, and I think the fun is in winning. And so I want to win all the games that we play. And so for me, that's my goal. Whatever it takes, week by week. But usually, you know how it is. You take one game at a time. This week, you've got to go 1-0 this week. And so when you're game planning, when you're getting ready to go, it's all about going 1-0. And so I think as far as goals, the rest of the season, obviously you look for success, but I like winning.
No doubt, winning everything's better when you win. Winning cures everything, right?
Not about that. I'll tell you that much.
What's first of all, do people call you JRP? Because I always call you JRP. Okay. Yeah. When I'm texting with Jeff, I always call you JRP. I didn't know if that was like a known nickname for you.
So I think it kind of started at Ole Miss. At Ole Miss, I remember growing up, everybody, like all the quarterbacks had a nickname. Like with Chad Kelly, it was Swag Kelly, or with Matt, it was Matty Ice. Like everybody kind of has a nickname when you play quarterback at Ole Miss, and so. When I got in, mine turned into JRP, which are just my initials. I don't know if that's a cool nickname or
I like it.
People to say, but JRP, that's me.
Well, I was going to ask you because I had written down here to ask you, what's JRP going to be doing in like 15 years? Like, what you got? Probably you could do so many different things. Are you a coach? Are you going to be coaching?
So I love ball, right? I want to play ball for as long as I can. I want to ride that bus out until the wheels fall off of it. After that. I've met a ton of people on this crazy story that I've been living that have helped me out a ton. And so a lot of those people are in spots with businesses and stuff, spots with coaching that maybe that I could fall onto, right? Maybe I could say, hey, is there a spot that's open for me that I can help you out anyway, right? And I think that's where you kind of have to start. When you get into something, I think you kind of start at the bottom and then you work your way up. And so But ultimately want to play ball for as long as I can play ball. And then after that, I think it's just the backup plan of figuring out what I really want to do the rest of my life after football, after baseball. And so I think that's what it's going to be.
That's why I hit you with the 15 years from now, because that I feel like that kind of 15 years will give you a good pro career and then figure it out. But no, man, clearly you got a great personality and you're a great communicator and fans love you, so I'm sure you'll have tons of options no matter what you want to do. Last question, and I like to kind of end some interviews with this, and I can tell you're a deep guy, so like you got some more depth here than just like surface level. What's your why? Like, why do you do what you do every day? What motivates you?
So growing up, I've always loved to compete, whatever it is, right? Like we can be racing down the street, we can be playing soccer ball with the trash cans in the street. Like I want to win. It's always what I've wanted to do. But growing up, like you start getting into football and baseball, and it's like it turns into people call it a grind. Like you get in a routine, you want to be your best every day, and so what kind of work do you have to put in to be at your best every day, right? And so for me, I have guys back in high school ball that would give an arm and a leg to have the opportunity to do what I'm doing.
Yep.
That are some of my best buddies to be able to do what I'm doing, and that they just didn't get the opportunity. And I think about what if that was me, right? What if I had to go a different route? What if I had to go and play junior college ball, or what if I had to go and play at a D3 school and maybe hope I perform to get to a higher level? And so I try to never take my opportunities for granted. And so what's my why? I think it's because my guys from high school or other guys didn't get the opportunity that I did. And ultimately, I've been blessed to have the abilities that I have and be in the position that I am right now. And so I think that really pushes me to day by day be at my best.
Awesome, man. Well, Rhys Plumlee, ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited to watch you play the rest of the season, man. It's going to be exciting. You're such a dynamic and electric player to watch. Like every time you touch the ball, it's like, what's he going to do this time? So
man,
I'm excited to watch it. I'm excited, man.
One season. I'm looking forward to finishing it out.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
Yep, bye.